You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Today, the city of Joplin has some tips for you now that the spring storm season is here.
All right, Tanya, we have some raindrops on the tower cam over Joplin, but we actually get a break from any type of precipitation today. But we do have more rain in the forecast. The latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And an iconic rock guitarist from the 80s becomes the subject of a new documentary. We'll have all that and more coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. We're starting to get a better look at the damage from the storms over the weekend. The tornado that hit Andover, Kansas Friday night damaged more than 1,000 buildings, generated winds up to 165 miles per hour, and carved a path of destruction nearly 13 miles long. According to Andover Fire Chief Chad Russell, up to 400 buildings in the Wichita suburb are destroyed. The National Weather Service says the EF3 tornado injured several people but did not take any lives. The twister was on the ground for 21 minutes Friday evening. Pittsburgh does not have any community shelter, so the city is reminding residents about its policy for activating tornado sirens. The first step for the city's sirens to activate is a tornado warning issued by the National Weather Service. From there, the city must either be believed to be in imminent danger or in close proximity of storm where a tornado is spotted by trained weather spotters.
The City of Pittsburgh recommends following FEMA's recommendation guidelines for that situation, that you do not get out in the storm, do not get out in your vehicles or travel anywhere, hunker in place in the building or home that you're in, go to the lowest ground level that you have, and go to the most center room that you have.
On the City of Pittsburgh's website, you can find a downloadable map of the siren locations in the city. Well, springtime in the 4 states is here, and that means preparing for severe weather. In the event that you need to go shelter yourself, the Director of Emergency Management in Joplin advises that you have a change of clothing, water, a weather radio, a charger, and a device that has local weather alerts. In Joplin, every public school has a FEMA shelter, and so does Missouri Southern.
The thing to remember is we average about 10 minutes between when a tornado is sighted and when one actually touches down. Usually that's not enough time to get to a shelter, so it's always best to try and shelter in place.
If you have to shelter at your home and you don't have a basement, go to the lowest floor in a room with no windows. Authorities in Cuapa, Oklahoma arrest a suspect accused of shooting a man over the weekend. On Saturday morning, police responded to a call of a shooting in the 400 block of South Chestnut in Cuapa. When officers arrived, they found a man with a gunshot wound in the chest. He was taken to the hospital and survived. Authorities later arrested 48-year-old Mark Doherty for the shooting. Doherty is charged with first-degree attempted murder and possession of illegal drugs. On Monday, the Joplin City Council sat down for a presentation based on a study to improve hiring and retention for the police and fire departments. The plan recommends a few solutions. The first is additional staffing, also allowing more friendly schedules and increasing pay. Under the plan, each level of employee at both departments would see at least a 10% pay raise. To pay for the changes, though, the plan recommends an increase to property taxes. That property tax increase would need to be approved by voters. Well, there is a new product for cereal lovers who want breakfast-themed footwear. Yep, we're talking shoes here. It's a collection of Crocs inspired by Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Cocoa Puffs, Honey Nut Cheerios, and Trix. Now, these shoes are a result of a collaboration between Crocs, General Mills, and Foot Locker, which they call the Crocs Rise in Style collection. They're available in classic and all-terrain and are designed with berries, sugary cinnamon squares, and cereal logos. Right now, only the Cinnamon Toast Crunch Crocs are available in stores, but they should all be in stores by July.
Thank goodness.
The cost between them now, $45 and $70 each. Okay, so
Hang on.
I do want to mention this because we've had to talk about this in the past.
No,
I had a discussion.
Doug and I keep a very exact calendar.
Every time we mention Crocs.
Back here. Yeah.
Okay, so we've had a former station employee who used to think that Crocs were edible. Now this story might really confuse him. So I'm going to just lay it out there. These are not edible shoes, folks.
Well, first off, so I make sure that we have it on the weather calendar because Doug and I are we're very precise. July?
Yes.
Excellent. Doug,
you can get the
Doug and
Cinnamon
I
Toast
buy
Crunch now.
Crocs. What are
You
we
can get
doing?
these now.
Who thought Crocs were edible? Just call them out. I want names.
Jesse Irwin.
I asked for it and I got it.
We talked about it on air, so it wasn't a secret to anybody. He swore up and down that they were. He tried to find me the Google document, the Google page where it was, and then.
That he thought Crocs were edible? Jesse, we love you, by the way.
I love you, Jesse, and we miss you.
Folks, that is not
you
safe.
You cannot eat Crocs. They do not make any variety of Crocs that are edible. Please don't put anything that's been on your feet for long periods of time in your body like that.
You just kind of lost me. Doug's going to hate me when July rolls around and he's like, Michael, why does it say you and I are buying Crocs?
And they need to be breakfast Crocs, like Fruity Pebble Crocs or something. Oh my gosh.
Can we go to 7th and Range Line? Because I don't know, I really don't know what to say coming off of that story, the fact that that's what we're manufacturing these days.
Why do we need Crocs to match our breakfast?
You know what I've
Rise and shine.
Do you know what I've decided to do?
We love cereal so
you
much.
Can come back on, you can come back on me, Tim.
Put 'em
I
on
didn't know
our
I was going to pontificate on this. I apologize. Do you know any more what I do in these situations? This is terrible. I blame the pandemic.
For like lack of creativity or just
I'm not going to say it's a
creativity?
lack of creativity.
Okay.
I'm going to call out the ridiculousness of it all.
I feel like we're getting, like you said, a little bit, we've ran out of like sensible creativity, so now we're just going crazy.
And also too, it would be a story. Let's go back 3 years. Let's say this story transpired pre-pandemic. It would be a story that Michael would still make fun of.
Yes.
He would just have to find another scapegoat.
My conversation with Mr. Irwin happened pre-pandemic concerning edible Crocs.
That do not exist. I do want to
not
point that out,
exist.
folks. Edible Crocs
You cannot eat Crocs.
do not exist. We don't do that. We don't condone that.
I don't even think they would be an acceptable food source for a crocodile.
That's probably not true.
Well, they don't need to be eating plastic.
I know, but
Whatever they're made
now
out
I
of.
just think you
Rubber?
just jumped into zoology for fun.
Well, the food that's pictured on these is not edible either.
It's chilly outside.
They do make Crocs that are lined that'll keep your feet warm.
I gave you the segue.
I know. So you could wear your lined Crocs today. Save the unlined ones for when it's a little bit warmer.
I'm telling you, I love you to death. I gave you the segue. Chili, food.
Yeah, that'd be gross. Don't stick your feet in chili either.
Oh my goodness, folks. It's only a Tuesday. Don't get us started on Friday yet. 47 degrees over 7th and Range Line. You have not made me laugh that hard on air in a long time. All I wanted was, ooh, chili. And instead I got, don't put your feet in chili. We do have we have a wind chill in effect. It only feels like it's 40 degrees right now. We're not doing line Crocs. Skywatch Storm Tracker, we did get some light drizzle over 7th and Range Line. It's not going to amount to anything. If it's still sprinkling in your neck of the woods, and if you want to grab an umbrella, that I understand. If you want to sprint out to the car, you're not going to need it the entire day, that's for sure. You are going to need it for Wednesday and Thursday, but not for the rest of today. Chilly start as we're barely hanging on to 150 right now. The only one that we see is south of I-44 in Cassville. So we have had our pre-sunrise drop of temperatures of about 3 to 4 degrees. Weather trend, low 60s today. That's as good as we're going to get, substantially below normal for the first week of May. As we get into Wednesday morning, here we go. Thunderstorms creating off to the west and down to the south. And as they roll through, all throughout late Wednesday morning, afternoon, even with a little intermittent break, we're back at it into Thursday morning. We're looking at 1 to 3 inches widespread of rainfall that will add to our flood watches that we currently have in Delaware County, Oklahoma, and Berry County, Missouri. That's what I got. Tim comes out on the two shot. You hang me out to dry. All I was going to do was transition over to this computer. Help me. Rhonda?
I just found a site that said that Crocs are edible.
No, they're not, folks. No, they're not. Don't. Because
Not
now we're-
published in March of 2022.
Did you find this on, where did you find it? Did you find this on the internet?
You can't believe everything.
You found this on the internet. My point exactly. Folks, Tanya and I do not, and as a matter of fact, I think I'll go ahead and speak for the brass. KOAM and KFJX do not condone you putting Crocs in your mouth and trying to ingest them. That is my public service announcement of the morning.
Yes.
How about that?
Please don't do it. Please don't do it. Although
Don't start like some viral challenge. Don't do this. Just don't do this.
Up next, it's time to exercise because May is National Physical Fitness and Sports Month. And later, you're invited to a wedding taking place at 30,000 feet in the air. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. More children are seeking out mental health services at school, and the latest evidence on the impact marketing has on foods children eat and choose. Astrid Martinez has some of the day's top health stories.
New research shows a link between food marketing and increases in food intake, choices, preferences, and requests for purchases in children and adolescents. The analysis of 96 studies is published in JAMA Pediatrics. The authors of the study say the findings support policies to limit children's exposure to marketing. Another study in JAMA Pediatrics suggests more adolescents are using school mental health services. The survey of more than 165,000 adolescents after the 2018 Parkland school shooting found increases in using mental health services at school in 2019 compared to previous years. The increase were greatest among Black adolescents and adolescents from low-income families. And researchers at UCLA say affirmative action bans can have a devastating impact on diversity in U.S. medical schools. The study looked at states with bans and found the number of students from underrepresented racial and ethnic minority groups in public medical schools dropped by more than 1/3 by 5 years after bans went into effect. Those are some of today's top health stories. Astrid Martinez, CBS News, New York.
May is National Physical Fitness and Sports Month. Health.gov says this is the perfect time for people of all ages to move towards a healthier lifestyle. Physical activity helps reduce anxiety, stress, and depression and benefits your overall health. Exercise is beneficial for children as well. Health.gov says youth sports helps them with time management and leadership skills. Working out, doing physical activities with your kids, and encouraging others to be active are great ways to take part in National Physical Fitness and Sports Month. We probably heard someone say McDonald's burgers would survive an apocalypse, and now you might want to add the restaurant's fries. Check this out. A couple says this bag of McDonald's food is from 1959. They found it in the walls of their Chicago area home during a renovation project. The Joneses say these fries, which still have a good bit of color to them, are surprisingly sturdy. If you don't recognize the mascot on the bag, that's Speedy. He represented the Golden Arches before Ronald McDonald came on the scene. The couple isn't sure what they'll do with the decades-old grub, but they're open to selling the preserved fast food fries. They have to be so
Well,
dried
it's even
out.
more interesting because the reason that Ray Kroc invested in the McDonald's brand was for the French fries solely from the McDonald's brothers when he bought it from them.
Who puts food in a wall?
He just wanted to make the French fries.
Would you rather eat a French fry
knew
from
this was-
1959 or a boiled, salted, and buttered bite of a Croc?
I knew this was coming. Divulge, what did you find online, Tanya?
That this one lady tried it. Well, actually, I don't know if it was a lady or a man. Okay, this one staff writer tried it. It sat in their esophagus for quite some time. And they would choose, if they were on a deserted island, to eat their friend before the Croc in the future.
KOAM and FOX14 do not condone or promote the eating of Crocs, the eating of McDonald's stuck in a wall from the 1950s, nor cannibalism. I will continue to cover all our corporate bases as we progress through this morning's show. Live look at our daily almanac for May the 3rd shows you our average high for this time of year would be around 73 degrees. We will be way short of that. As a matter of fact, we'll probably see more high 50s than we will low 60s, the result of the cloudy skies and the cold front that's now moved in, dropping us as low as 43 degrees in Iola. 150 still left on the board. That is up in Cassville. Now, as we progress through the afternoon, we will get a little touch of sunshine, so that'll be a nice change. And after our morning drizzle in Joplin, we will be dry, so that will be very nice as well. Overnight, into the 40s. Now, overnight as we transition into Wednesday morning, here comes additional rainfall. Thunderstorms work in from the south and the west. Once they begin, even with a little intermittent break, we're talking about 1 to 3 inches of rain by the time Thursday wraps up. That's going to have a fair amount of thunder and lightning with it as well. Flood watches in effect for the Flint Creek in Delaware County, Oklahoma, and almost county-wide for Berry County in southwest Missouri. It is going to be a beautiful Mother's Day weekend, however. Warm, sunny skies, just got to get through really next 48 coming off of today where we get to take a break. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. The guitarist behind the iconic riff of Ozzy Osbourne's Crazy Train and a number of other Osbourne songs, the subject of a new documentary. Also should point out that Randy Rhoads was one of the creators of the band Quiet Riot. Rick Damagella with the story.
The guitarist who co-founded Quiet Riot and fueled the birth of Ozzy Osbourne's solo career is remembered in Randy Rhoads' Reflections of a Guitar Icon.
You have to see this band called Quiet Riot. He's like nothing you've ever seen before.
It's this huge sound, and the sound was coming straight from the guitar player.
Well, I've always been fascinated with the legend of Randy Rhoads. I always considered him an enigma. There was a lot of mystery surrounding his character, and not a lot of people know his story.
The film features archival performances and conversations with Rhoads.
One of my favorite sounds was when I first heard Mountains and Leslie West with that harmonics and the sustain. I just thought it was the greatest thing.
Listening to him speak about so many elements and pieces of his life, that it was a perfect situation. I mean, when I found those recordings, it was just like, we have to put them in.
The documentary is narrated by fellow guitarist Tracy Guns.
I've been obsessed with Randy's style, sound, and image since I was about 16, I guess. So like this for me is just like full circle. He reminds me live so much of Hendrix, because, you know, Hendrix also had this kind of out of control feedback thing going on a lot of the time. And that's what Randy did too, you know. They played different styles of music, obviously, but they were both always like kind of harnessing the power of this fire-breathing dragon.
Randy Rhoads will never die in my heart. He's there forever. He was a small guy with such an enormous talent.
Rhoads was killed along with 2 other people in a Florida plane crash in March 1982, but his music and legacy live on.
Randy was the light, and everyone gravitated to the light.
In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damagella.
So there's some information here at the end of the story. I'm going to add my own little reflection to it as well. So the first 2 Riot albums with Rhoads on guitar, those were never released outside of Japan. Then you had a European record label announcing that Quiet Riot 1 and QR2 is what it's called, that they're going to be issued on CD and vinyl later this year. But interestingly enough, the fact that QR was not able to strike a deal with a main U.S. label is the reason that Rhoads left, auditioned for Ozzy Osbourne. Ozzy heard him, hired him on the spot, and so Rhoads went on tour with Osbourne while Quiet Riot was essentially not breaking up. They disbanded. So when QR came out with Mental Health, their most popular album, you're going to know the songs from that, Randy Rhoads was actually not part of that album. As a matter of fact, when that was released, the plane crash that took his life had already taken place in Florida. All right, we'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
It's time to honor today's 4th State hero, Airman 2nd Class William Sullivan. Pittsburgh, Kansas native, served in Korea from 1950 to 1953 as part of the 6147th Tactical Control Group. To Airman 2nd Class William Sullivan, we thank you, today's 4th State hero. Well, getting married in Las Vegas isn't uncommon, but trading vows at 30,000 feet on your way there, well, that is something unusual. Lauren Martinez reports on how a canceled flight turned into a party for everyone.
We got to the cruising altitude and we could get out of our seats. We had a wedding.
Love is in the air for newlyweds Pam and Jeremy Salda. The couple from Oklahoma City, fully dressed up at the airport, missed their 9 o'clock chapel appointment in Las Vegas after their flight was canceled. Then a stranger waiting at the same gate changed their luck.
You know, we're not going to make it in time, but I'm ordained, and if you guys want to get married, I think I can help you out. And
boy, did he.
He did.
That's Chris Mitchum, an ordained minister, standing with a sash of pretzel snack bags strewn together by cocktail picks. Their entire Southwest crew was on board with the idea to have a wedding on the plane to Vegas.
It was like they'd done it 100 times. Everything just fell into place.
Flight attendants hung toilet paper streamers. Passengers turned on their call buttons to light the aircraft as Pam walked down the aisle.
Everybody's cell phone turns on and their lights are on and it just lights up, and it just was kind of almost magical, oddly, walking down this aisle with all these lights and phones and people taking selfies and music, and we got married in the front of a plane.
You know, since I've met her, I don't know, we're coming up on 2 years in August. Nothing surprises me. It's like adventure just finds her.
And passengers volunteered to help. In the back of the plane, a wedding photographer took pictures.
Another passenger in the front of us, in the row in front of us, she had one little donut, and that she said, "Here, I've got one donut left. Would you like this to be your wedding cake?" And so we fed each other a piece of donut.
Another passenger offered up their notebook to be a wedding book.
Like afterwards, when we got to read it, we got choked up. I couldn't even read them aloud. They were so sweet.
Pam Salda said their elopement blossomed into something greater than they could ever imagine, a moment they will cherish forever.
170 people, strangers, and everybody was kind of, united.
And I'm just hoping that the first day of their marriage avoided any turbulence. Another half hour of news and weather is just ahead. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14, a manhunt in Alabama continues for an escaped inmate and a corrections officer. And you'll meet a Missouri family who's using social media to gain justice after a robbery. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:32. Let's take a look at today's top stories. Authorities in Cuapa, Oklahoma arrest a suspect accused of shooting a man over the weekend. Saturday morning, police responded to a call of a shooting in the 400 block of South Chestnut in Cuapa. When officers arrived, they found a man with a gunshot wound in the chest. He was taken to the hospital and survived. Authorities later arrested 48-year-old Mark Doherty for the shooting. Doherty is charged with first-degree attempted murder and possession of illegal drugs. You can be the first to know about severe weather impacting your community with the KOAM Skywatch weather app. It's free of charge and available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. You can also find severe weather-related resources like shelters and road conditions in your community through our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Some local grade school students on Monday made a donation to the Ronald McDonald House in Joplin. Stapleton elementary students in Joplin have been collecting aluminum tabs all year. It started with the 5th grade class, but soon became a school-wide project. 5th graders yesterday donated 108 pounds of tabs to the charity.
Because we like helping, and it's a great way to show like that we're responsible, and it's a great way to show that we like helping people.
Students at the school have been collecting tabs for more than a decade. Joplin Fire Department is hiring, and they're changing what they're looking for in potential firefighter candidates. KOAM's Chris Warner spoke with the department and has more.
Whether it's police officers or firefighters, Joplin Fire Captain Daniel Job says there's something about the people you work with.
And the fire services are brotherhood, so the guys I work with, that's a big plus. You know, we're here together 24 hours a day, every third day.
Training Chief Dustin Luno says the department is changing its hiring practices to bring more firefighters in to join that brotherhood and serve the community.
We're going to look at each individual applicant, as individuals themselves, and look at their qualities and will they be a good fit for the Joplin Fire Department, and then we're going to train them while they're here.
Luno says that change also includes training new firefighters and paying them while they're in training.
Well, our hope is that we can, market ourselves to the community, to those individuals that are, they're looking for something different. They're not sure what they want to do. They know that there's something bigger than themselves. They know they want to be a part of that. And those are the individuals that we want to find.
Job says being a firefighter is more than just putting out fires.
Sometimes it's very small things that we do, but we helped somebody in a time where they didn't know who to call, and we were able to help them out. So it doesn't matter the size of the job, it's just being able to help somebody.
Not only will new hires help serve the community, they'll help make the fire department stronger.
Not only will they be helping out and filling the trucks, they'll take that burden off of our firefighters that are working the extra shifts to continue to provide that service for the citizens of Joplin.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
And during Monday's council meeting, city officials heard a presentation about how to make things better for police and firefighters, including increased salaries. We'll have more on that meeting. Well, we talked more about that meeting earlier in the show, too. Well, hardcore fans of the classic TV show Friends may want to check out a house up for grabs in Ohio. Now, this place in Dayton is designed just like the apartment owned by Monica Geller's character. Replica has purple and blue walls, of course, just like it did on the TV set, and even features a mini clawfoot tub similar to the one in Monica's bathroom. It also has a new furnace, water heater, and air conditioner. That's nice. No word on if there's a pizza-loving neighbor across the hall or an ugly naked guy living across the street. Wouldn't that be funny? The agent selling the home said she repeatedly watched the show and got the house to look as close to the show's apartment as possible. Of course, the asking price got jacked up because of that. $162,000.
Did it say where it is in Ohio?
I don't think so.
It's okay. I was just curious. I had not heard that. I thought
Dayton, Ohio.
Is it where?
Dayton, Ohio.
Ah! Hey, Hayslip family. That would be great. I can see my sister living there. Imagine the twin. We were talking about twins yesterday, right? You imagine the twins terrorizing that house? No, that's way too much purple for me.
But you like purple.
Well, in some places. Also, too, like any time that I hear that, I just want to be Sandy Dennis from the Out-of-Towners and just yell, "We're from Ohio!" Shout out to all of you who have seen the movie The Out-of-Towners. Just such a marvelous movie and very, very true, perhaps about us upper Midwesterners, about how we handle things. Temperatures right now, we are talking low to, we're scraping out some high 40s down south of I-44, but we're kind of stuck there in that middle ground. I'd grab a jacket when you take off outside. It's going to be cool today. Our average high would be around 73 for the first week of May. We'll only be in the low 60s. Now, the important part is getting through today is going to be fine. It's preparing for tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, thunderstorm activity appears to the west and to the south. We are going to pack 1 to 3 inches of rain in between Wednesday and Thursday as it just consistently trains through right there with that uptick of Gulf moisture that we're going to see in central Oklahoma that's going to just spread our way. We're going to keep the wind and hail threat down to the south. Our biggest threat is going to be flooding. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. This morning on the KOAM News Now Insta Poll and our Facebook page, something to talk about. Over the weekend, the Autism Society of San Diego teamed up with a group called Mainly Mozart. It hosted the 4th annual Lights, Camera, Autism Back in the Spotlight event. It gives dozens of artists a chance to showcase their works. Our question for you is, how do you express your artistic side? And while 38% of you say none, I think that's a little post-pandemic being taken out of everybody, at least that's what I believe it is. 15% of you say that it's writing, and 13% of you like playing music. 22% say other, and I appreciate the laundry list that could be out there when it comes to your artistic side. Each and every morning, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote, or connect to us via our Facebook page at KOAM News Now. In Alabama, a manhunt is underway for a prison inmate who's believed to have escaped with the help of a corrections officer. Danye Backus with the story.
Authorities in Alabama have issued a warrant for Vicky White's arrest. The 56-year-old is Lauderdale County's Assistant Director of Corrections.
The charges are permitting or facilitating an escape in the first degree.
On Friday, Officer White left the county jail with inmate Casey White. She told coworkers she was bringing him to the courthouse for a mental health evaluation, but there was no appointment scheduled. Her empty patrol car was found in a parking lot several hours later.
Casey White, as you've heard me say over and over, is an extremely dangerous person, and we need to get him located and get him off the street.
Casey White was in jail awaiting trial on a murder charge. The 38-year-old was already serving a 75-year prison sentence after being convicted of kidnapping and attempted murder.
There is the possibility that he's changed his identity as far as his looks, but he will stand out at 6 feet 9 inches.
Corrections officials say Officer White submitted her retirement papers the day before she vanished with the inmate.
She did sell her home about a month ago and talked about going to the beach. Everybody thought she was going to retire. Nobody saw this coming.
Investigators are now reviewing video shot inside the jail in an effort to determine the nature of the relationship between the two. Danya Backus, CBS News.
U.S. Marshal Service has posted a $10,000 reward for information leading to Officer Vicky White and inmate Casey White. Officials noted that despite having the same last name, the two are not related. Be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Target is hiring and is helping candidates to get the job with their new interview tips. The retail store shared a new interview prep guide on its site for prospective employees. And some of the recommendations include short answering times, keeping their interview conversational, and staying on professional topics. They also added several example questions for applicants to practice their answers before meeting. The company is looking to attract more people to join its team and is hoping to reduce the retail industry worker shortage that has taken place over the last 2 years. Are ads making your Google search harder? Well, some people may agree with you. Several online reviewers are pointing out the increasing number of ads on Google and say some pop-ups are making the search engine worse, adding it's more aggravating to find specific results. Critics claim companies selling products have been able to alter Google's search engine optimization by repeating key terms, words, or phrases, making more unrelated items show up after a search. Google spokesperson told the New York Post their search results have drastically improved, decreasing irrelevancy by more than 50% over the last 7 years. We'll be right back with more after this, but first, let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
A Missouri family is searching for their own justice through social media. This after an armed robbery outside their home in Kansas City. Abby Dodge with the story on how this family turned to Facebook and TikTok for help.
Quiet morning with a big weekend ahead.
The only thing we had left to do was just load up the kids and we were ready to go.
A family road trip to Chicago on their 10th anniversary. Never got the chance to begin.
I told our girls to stay inside.
He had to get through me to get back into the vehicle.
Saw the weapon drawn and pointed directly at him.
In their front yard, moments before a planned departure, Tara Davis spotted someone stealing their luggage.
To me and Kyle are a team, and we were just gonna go get our stuff back. You know, it's like, hold on, girls, we're going to get it.
I thought we were just gonna sort it out, and then we'd all just be on our way. But just didn't go down like that.
Tara says after the suspect pulled a gun on her husband, she pulled out her phone, hoping to get a shot of the license plate. there wasn't one, but she got a clear shot of the suspect's intentions.
Honestly, it's given me so much motivation to get her face out there for being so arrogant, saying, F you, this is mine now, get out of our way.
An exchange without words, speaking volumes.
When you act like that, it's like, okay, you're going down. So I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna make a TikTok and maybe justice can be served. You know, it just goes to show I'm gonna do everything I can on my own and with the community to try to get these people.
While they make their own recovery.
We lost some things that we, really wish we didn't lose, but, everybody's still safe and everybody's still doing pretty good. So, I'm thankful for that.
And the chance to find their own justice.
I hope karma comes back and gets you hard.
Abby Dodge, KC, TV5.
Seemed like an aggressive move on that last picture right there to go double birds after you've done that to somebody. And they got a picture of you. If we get an update on that story, certainly any arrests that are made, we'll try to pass that along. Current conditions over 7th and Rangeline. The camera's been kind of rain splattered all morning long. It's certainly not heavy rain, more of a drizzle or sprinkles, if you will. 47 degrees, but we've got a wind chill in effect, only feeling like 40 right now in Joplin. These are actual temperatures, 47 in Chanute and 50 in Cassville from the northwest down to the southeast. About as good as we're getting right now, 46 in Miami, and let's roll 46 in Pittsburgh as well. Skywatch Storm Tracker, the drizzle is so light, not even being picked up by the sweeping radar. Our storm system from overnight has now, I tell you what, this thing got wheels here after it crossed the Mississippi. It's pushed all the way up to the Great Lakes. And then as we drop down to the northeast, or our southeast, we've got additional thunderstorm activity now in the Arklatex region. That will not affect us. We will actually have a nice dry day. But with that being said, it's going to be cool as well. May want to hang on to the jacket. So think jacket for today, umbrella for tomorrow. While we get through today unscathed and even get a peek of sunshine every now and then, the rain formulates tomorrow morning. And when it does, widespread 1 to 3 inches of rain. We're going to have additional flood watches on top of what we have right now. It moves in, we're going to have thunder and lightning. We should keep the majority of the reports of high wind and hail down to our south. But you can tell from our timeline, it doesn't stop until we get into Thursday afternoon. So once again, we do have a flood watch right now for the Flint Creek down in Delaware County, Oklahoma, and kind of county-wide for Berry County in southwest Missouri. And we can expect more of those to pop up. Anticipate those low-lying areas to be flooded, especially Wednesday night into Thursday morning. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. An apparent draft of the Supreme Court opinion reportedly suggests the justices are preparing to overturn Roe v. Wade. Politico says it obtained a 98-page document that was circulated among the justices in February. If the opinion becomes official, it would allow state legislatures to craft their own laws restricting abortion. The court did not comment on the report. The United Nations says more than 5.5 million refugees have fled Ukraine since the start of the Russian invasion. It's already the largest mass movement of people in Europe since World War II. And a manhunt is underway in Alabama after a prison inmate escaped custody, allegedly with the help of a corrections officer. Investigators say Officer Vicky White lied to co-workers to remove Casey White, no relation, from the Lauderhill County Jail on Friday. She also filed for retirement the night before her disappearance.
We have temperatures that are going to be well below normal. Normally we'd be around 73. We're going to barely scrape the low 60s today, but on the bright side, we do not have to worry about rain. Now, that's for Tuesday. Let's go ahead and talk Wednesday and Thursday because thunderstorms are going to move in from the west and the south about mid-morning tomorrow and last all the way from Wednesday night into Thursday morning. 1 to 3 inches of widespread rain. We can expect flood watches and warnings to increase geographically throughout the 4 states.
Talk about a job well done, or maybe medium rare. Gail Dudley, an employee at a Longhorn Steakhouse in Georgia, is named a Grill Master Legend after grilling 1 million steaks. Dudley has been flipping meat at the chain's location in Columbus for 20 years. When she hit the 7-digit landmark, she was honored with a surprise ceremony and was given a special gold chef's coat and a $5,000 check. In a statement, Dudley said she was happy to share the celebration with her mother. Darden Restaurants Incorporated, the owner of Longhorn, says Dudley is one of only 14 workers to win this title. I didn't even know they were keeping track of like which employees cook how many. I mean,
I wonder how they do that.
Like,
she got paid 5/1000th of a cent for every steak she made. Thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. Back with more news and weather when we see you at noon.
have a great morning and an even better day.